So a Sundance Festival, it finished today. I haven't any idea about it. This has just appeared on the running order, so I will admit my ignorance over the festival this year. I've paid no attention whatsoever, but the guys are going to talk about it. So Tom, why are we talking about it?
Well, it tends to be a pretty good benchmark of what's going to be interesting later in the year. Something that is unlikely to be a big tentpole blockbuster, but will have some kind of hook. It tends to be stuff that is more indie or auteur-driven, and often you'll get a Sundance darling that then goes on to make it big and garner further awards down the road. So this is quite a good initial indication of what's going to be interesting later in the year. So we've I think the three of us have been following it here and there. None of us have attended. It's been a virtual attendance this year, same as last year. So it's been more accessible than ever. But none of us have attended, unfortunately. But we have been following it, and there have been a few movies that have caught our eye as we've been looking at the coverage. And I think we've all chosen one or two that we're going to look forward to this year. A couple that have really caught my eye. The first is Cha Cha Real Smooth by a director called Cooper Raiff, whose first movie is called Freshman Year, although that's not its original title. Its original title is Shithouse. And it is just, I think Cooper Raiff is going to garner the award for director who makes the most light-hearted and fun and wistful movies with the worst titles, because Shithouse is just a really sweet movie about going to college and feeling like you don't fit in. And it's just really, really nice and really satisfying and really touching. And Cha Cha Real Smooth looks to be in a similar vein, but for those post-college years. You graduate and you don't know what you want to do with your life. So I'm really looking forward to that. If you've not seen Freshman Year, aka Shithouse, go and find it, because it's a really, really genuinely great movie. So that was one that caught my eye this year. And I'm into my weird horror movies. So the other one that's getting some attention is one called, I think it's a Danish film or a Danish film called Speak No Evil, which is about two couples who meet each other on holiday. One couple invites the other back to their house, and then it just becomes a nightmare of social manners and awkwardness, devolving into pure horror. Now, I've got no idea what the pure horror is, but there is supposedly in the final act a real hammer drop where suddenly things get compared to Funny Games. Funny Games is a movie that I absolutely despise.
It's a terrible movie.
It's horrendous.
Fun for all the family there.
Movie.
But this
So
idea
depressing.
of social manners cringe that becomes Funny Games, that kind of, I don't know, I'm interested by it.
So you mean The Office meets Funny Games?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You said
I'm
Funny
there,
Games,
sold.
and I'm so not there until I've read at least 2 reviews.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's got my attention. Mark, what about you? What have you been interested in?
So like yourself, I tend to go for the more genre side of things, and anytime there's a new Benson and Moorhead jam, I am there for it. So Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. That's right, isn't it? It's not Justin Moorhead and Aaron Benson. I don't know.
That's right. You got it right first time.
Either way, these guys have been putting out some of the most interesting genre fare for the last few years. I first came across them with Spring, which frankly is one of my movies of this century so far. It's absolutely amazing if you haven't seen it. But then we got the double whammy of Resolution and the Endless, fascinating, crazy, weird, mythological, Lovecraftian, you name it, it's that. Synchronic, year before last, was a little bit more mainstream, but still interesting. But this year, they're going spooky with Something in the Dirt. Again, not a lot's known about this, but basically, guy finds an apartment in Hollywood, makes friends with the crazy neighbor next door, and they both witness some supernatural stuff going on in their living room, which they then try to make a book on. And of course, it goes horribly wrong. So I am really looking forward to that one.
I just want to, sorry, Mark, just want a quick shout out to Archive 81, which also, a quarter of which was directed by Benson and Moorhead. So they
Nice.
have post-synchronic, they have done some interesting stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I was disappointed
Excellent.
by Synchronic, to be honest. I really, really like Endless. And I think that they did sci-fi, crazy, dark sci-fi on a budget really well. But they got a bit more for Synchronic. And I think I expected a little bit more from them, but I don't think they had Falcon leading the charge, didn't they?
Mackie and Dornan.
I mean, it was an interesting casting, and I'm not sure that helped, but yeah, it was okay.
I think the last one, and I would only mention one, but this one I've got to mention. It's called Resurrection, and it stars Rebecca Hall. And Kaz piqued my interest because he called it this year's Malignant.
Yes, I knew you'd like it this year.
I love Malignant, but I came across this review. Now I'm going to read this review, and if this doesn't sell it to you, you are dead inside. So here we go. It winds up several stops north of bonkers in a finale that shoots for transgressive psychobiological role reversal, but plays like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jr. given a torture porn makeover. Now, who doesn't want to see that?
With
I
Rebecca
do
Hall.
want to see that.
Take all my money. So that's it. Sundance finishes with those two for me.
I think I'm quite interested in Fresh, which is being pitched as like a bit of an updating of American Psycho with Winter Soldier Sebastian Stan in the Christian Bale role, and Daisy Edgar-Jones, who's from Normal People, as his prey. It seems to be a couple who meet cute, and it goes all kinds of wrong when Stan turns out to have another agenda. But I'm quite interested in where they go with that. There's also a couple of clone movies. Always like some clones. Because you can kind of do sci-fi on a budget with clones, can't you? Oh, cloning's so good. They just look like humans. So we haven't needed any technology whatsoever to make this a sci-fi movie.
We only need one actor.
Yeah, we just got another actor. We just need Van Damme, and there's another Van Damme. But yeah, After Yang and Duel have both got me interested. After Yang, I think it's going to drive me nuts. Colin Farrell, I think, and they have his father has a daughter who they want a sister for her, so they buy a clone, Yang, and the clone for whatever reason goes wrong. And it's not an evil, it gets dark, it just can't be fixed. And so I think the movie's trying to deal with what it means to have that kind of loss in a family when a clone sister has become so integral to it. And Duel, can't remember what that's about. 2 clones. Hopefully one of them's Van Damme. Hopefully both of them are Van Damme. I'm looking forward to that. So...